Brothers and brotherettes,
I am here to proclaim that the market is about to explode to new all-time highs. No, I'm not clairvoyant. I can't tell you the future, but I do have a lot of interesting data and trends, stats, facts, and figures that I want to share with you that are all pointing to saying, hey, highest probability pathway from where we are today, Tuesday, August the 26th, is higher and higher and higher. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. But remember, when it comes to the world of degenerately gambling within the old stock market, it's a game of odds, and that's exactly what we're playing. Now, before we get into that, because I want to share it all with you so you can better understand what I'm seeing, obviously, if you enjoy these type of market breakdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And with that being said, let's rock. Okie dokie, artichokey. Turns out Turnaround Tuesday is a very real thing. Yesterday, kind of crappy, kind of sucky, kind of not fun, and bada bing, bada boom, we got a nice explosion into close today, and like I said, I think it will be continuing. S&P 500 closes higher as Nvidia gains, traders shake off Trump's latest Fed salvo. Of course, we'll be getting into all that, but first, for just larger context, we're still within the big day from Friday when we heard from Jerome Powell at the Jackson Hole Symposium that they're being a little bit dovish. So we haven't broken that high, we haven't broken that low, but we're getting very close to knocking on that door. And we're also not far away from an all-time high. Same thing in the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is a little bit farther away from the all-time high, but still overall in a nice bullish trend. Ever since then, actually, it's the small cap sector that's outperforming. Same thing, still in that Friday bound, but obviously that Friday bound for the small cap was very, very strong, looking for a continuation there. On the flip side, the weakest was Bitcoin, which actually, after hitting a new all-time high, is now making a recent low. And I'm hoping that this is a fake out here and we bounce back, because I'm in a position there in the short term and it is not looking pretty. But hey, at least a little bit green today. I really like the fact that it's attempting to hold 110,000, and I'll feel much better when it recaptures 114. Now, diving into today specifically, it was a bunch of nothing up until around 2 p.m. and then everything started to rip. I mean, even right now as I'm filming this in post-market trading, SPY pushing, Q's pushing, and even though Palantir is the largest gainer on my watch list, look at what's going on with Tesla. This thing is not stopping, and even right now in the short term, Bitcoin is looking pretty strong. So with respect to today, here's the heat map of the S&P 500. I do want to let you know underneath, large players were actually slight net sellers today, which I found very, very odd, because remember, when they're buyers, they're legitimate buyers. This is what happened on Friday. But today, like I said, they're just kind of baby sellers, which I found a little bit surprising. But when you start to look at what happened in the options market, maybe it's just because the early session with relation to options was crappy. And then right at 155, almost as if someone hit the on button for a giant buying system, we started to rip. This is the delta flow for the S&P 500. Same thing on the Mag 7. Like, there's a literal perfect inflection point at 155 where we're kind of chopping around, a little bit bullish, nothing too special, and then boom, the afternoon absolutely ripped. So that's pretty much the TLDR of what happened with price action, what happened with options flow, and what happened with the big players. But in terms of narrative, really what was the hot news of the day? Well, that relates to the Fed, specifically the Fed governor, or should I say ex-Fed governor, Lisa Cook, and the current president of the United States, obviously President Donald J. Trump. Uncharted waters. Trump's attempt to take charge of the Fed, the president's intention to fire the Fed governor Lisa Cook, would give him sway over the central bank's rate-setting power. This is a very big deal. This came out last night, posted on Donald J. Trump's own Truth Social. Pursuant to my authority under Article 2 of the Constitution of the U.S. and the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, as amended, you are hereby removed from your position of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, effective immediately. Before I get into the details of this, let me know in a comment below. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Or do you not care at all? Before I get into the details, I want to know your thoughts. Lisa Cook will sue over Trump firing from Fed board, according to her lawyer. So here's what happened. It's getting called out that maybe she did a little bit of funny stuff when she got 2 different primary houses when she was getting her loan application, basically saying one of them was her primary when you have 2, so it can only be be one. So how are they both possibly doing it? But that's what this is all over. And in reality, that's not really what it is all about. I'm about to explain what it's all about. Governor Cook is basically saying, nope, I didn't do anything wrong, and my lawyer is going to prove it. Can Trump really fire the Fed Governor Cook? Here's what the law says. I watched the video, I read the article, here's the TLDR. He can't do it at will, but he can do it with cause. So basically, kind of yes, but kind of no. But for that to be with cause, they're gonna kind of have to prove that she did something in the world of criminal. Now, once again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not saying like a legit criminal offense, but something that, hey, that you can't do that, like clearly breaking some sort of rule. Then it gets into the world of with cause. Trump's Cook's firing will likely end up in the Supreme Court's hand. We're on the frontier of what in the world can a president do, what in the world can't a president do. So depending if really she just doesn't step down, like if this actually gets to a legal action, probably going to be decided by the Supreme Court. I don't think this is going to be quick by any means, but obviously something to pay attention to. And you can understand in general, this is a big deal because we're talking about a lot of influence over a group that's allegedly, I say allegedly not supposed to be political. So obviously how this plays out could be very, very big. Very quickly, I should interject, as I was filming this video, the Fed actually officially responded. The Fed, in a statement from a spokesperson, noted that Cook has indicated through her personal attorney that she will promptly challenge this action in court and seek a judicial decision that would confirm her ability to continue. But the Federal Reserve did want to make it very clear that they will abide by any court decision on whether President Donald Trump has the legal authority to fire a Board of Governors member, Lisa Cook. So they're basically saying, we're going to do what the legal system officially tells us to do. But more importantly, the real question is, why in the world is this happening? Obviously, we all know it really doesn't have anything to do with a mortgage loan application. It has to do with power, and specifically power in the Fed. Trump says he'll have a Fed majority soon to push rates lower after firing Cook. This is a game of basic numbers. If you have the majority vote, you get what you want. And if Lisa Cook is removed, who was appointed by Biden, and her term does not end until 2038, if she is gone, that means Trump officially has the majority. It would give Trump-appointed Fed governors a majority of the board. 4 of 7 Fed governors, including the Fed Chair Powell, would be Trump-appointed. So obviously, this all revolves around the game of power. And when it comes to simple numbers like this, if you have the numbers, you have the votes, and you get to do what you want. Speaking of numbers and votes and things that are going to be massively impactful for monetary policy, the economy, and in the short term, very much so, the stock market, we have a little bit of an update here of what in the world's going on with the Fed rates. As of right now, is 17% chance of no change, which means there's a 78% chance of a 25 bips rate cut. This is one of the other large narrative things going on right now that is going to be massively influential of where the market goes in the coming days and in the coming weeks. But in all reality, the big update on that isn't going to come till Friday, and there's a big event between now and then, and it goes by the name of Nvidia. Nvidia is reporting its earnings after the market closes tomorrow, Wednesday. You gotta pay attention to it. Nvidia, as I'm filming this, is very close to an all-time high, and also right now the options market is pricing in roughly a 6% move, which is a lot of money. It could go 6% up or down. Of course, it could be more or less, but right now that's what the options market is pricing in. That is the anticipation, and that's a big chunk of change. Nvidia is set for a $260 billion price swing after earnings, and right now that meme of Nvidia putting the stock market on its back, I don't know if it's ever been more true. If Nvidia crushes and this idea of the AI bubble is still alive, yes, new all-time highs, S&P 500 moving, the NASDAQ moving, crypto moving. If it misses, we might have a couple problems. Thursday, we have the GDP report. And then coming back to monetary policy and the odds of a rate cut, that gets going on Friday, where an hour before the market opens, we have the PCE inflation report. So both of these events this week, the Nvidia report after the market closes tomorrow, Wednesday, and then the inflation report Friday, hugely important. If those are both good, yes, we are ripping to new all-time highs. If one of them misses, we might be having a problem. So now that you know what price action played out today, now that you know the main story of the day, let's get into why this guy right here really believes we're about to be ripping to new all-time highs, to the point that I put $75,000 of my own money on this bet. Whenever it comes to me and my own trades, I always want to look at the stats, facts, and figures and see if I can identify the highest probability pathway, as in the highest likelihood of where we're going to go. In the world of trading, nothing is ever guaranteed. It's simply how it works. Unfortunately, we can't make it that way. I wish we could. I wish I was Nancy Pelosi, but at the end of the day, I'm not. So I'm gonna have to do the best with the tools that I have. So for me to identify these high probability pathways, there's a couple things I look into. First of all, price structure. I'm looking for higher highs and higher lows. Well, here's the S&P 500 futures market. You can see recently we've been trending up. We have higher highs and higher lows, but technically this recent high is a little bit lower. And once again, this is the all-time high. But what I'm seeing here is a nice technical breakout on solid momentum. So I look at price structure and price momentum as in, are we above the EMA? So awesome. Bullish there and bullish on both. And then we're also seeing a similar setup in the NASDAQ. We are seeing higher highs and higher lows. We're seeing a technical breakout and also solid price momentum. I very, very much like that. The other thing that I'm gonna look at is what in the world is going on with options. And let me bring your attention here where the yellow blocks are calls, the blue box are puts. For the remainder of this week, calls are bigger, calls are bigger, calls are bigger, calls are bigger. So I like the fact that right now the market is dominated by calls. So we're either going to have very aggressive negative gamma above with people aggressively trying to get it, or we're going to have some supportive gamma below. So I like that support and I like those reach targets. But then we could also dive into the specifics of the actual bet. So right here, I'm specifically looking at SPY. And just so everyone knows, SPY currently trading around 645 and the Q's around 573. So 645, we are right at this major breakout level. We're at this resistance right here, huge gamma resistance. If we could get above that, yeah, we might be talking a little bit about 647, but my real target is all the way up to 650. We just got to get over this hump. And then with respect to the NASDAQ, well, we're actually already kind of breaking out. We already got over this. It's turned into support. So yeah, you might want to watch a little bit about 575, but really what I'm paying attention to is this massive bullish bet all the way up to 580. So when I put this all together, I'm seeing bullish price structure. We have higher highs and higher lows. Bullish momentum, we are above all these major moving EMAs. Then I look at the options world and I realize that we have support below and some aggressive bullish bets above. So when I put all of those together, that's exactly why I put $75,000 on the line on SPY calls, Q calls, TQQ calls, Tesla calls. I probably should have got Nvidia calls. I even got some Bitcoin calls as well, and that's actually the weakest bet as of now. So right now, seeing the momentum of everything, whether it's the stock market, the options market, even the futures market, I'm liking what's going on, but please understand that it's still not guaranteed. We're coming into binary events. Either they hit or they don't. We have to pay attention to Nvidia and we have to pay attention to this PCE report on Friday. So even though I really like the picture right now, I still have to respect the fact that maybe it's just not going to break my way. And then before you know it, I just lit $75,000 on fire. So that's how I see this situation. And right now, I truly, deeply believe the highest probability pathway is this week. We will be seeing a new all-time high. But obviously, I'll tell you better when the market officially closes on Friday. But on that note, I would love to hear from you in a comment below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Or do you think I'm missing something in the middle? I guess I would love to get your thoughts. That's what I have for you now. I appreciate the good vibes. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.